in terms of the committee, perhaps I sent some material as well, brought to the attention of the bank where money was borrowed from Anglo-Irish Bank, and most of the funds in that borrowing were paid to an associate of an Irish Bank and ended up in an Anglo-Irish Bank deposit account. And through the process and time, it destroyed the individual's business. Now, where is the serious money laundering issues like this? What is the response of the central bank to individual cases like that? Who deals with it? Is it Ms. McAvoy? Is it somebody else? Is that a consumer protection issue? In short, where should the detail of that issue be directed to in the central bank for a comprehensive and early response? Is it Ms. McAvoy?
So I'm not totally sure of the detail, but certainly very happy. You can send it to me. Kind of anything that you
okay.
have, I will make sure that it's
right. On an accounting loophole, we call it. The Institute of Chartered Accountants in Ireland has confirmed that it allows banks to conceal losses, while its counterpart in the UK has admitted that the same loophole is contrary to European company law. It was an article in the Financial Times on the 7th of May 2020 by Matthew Vincent, and it has shown that the Irish Central Bank relied on this law. A similar article was in the Sunday Times by Niall Brady on the 31st of May, and it covers the same issue. Why have the Central Bank not challenged those articles or the facts as presented in the articles? Is that not something that you would do in order to allay, public fear or public understanding, to give them a better grasp of what's going on?
So we don't necessarily challenge all articles, whether in terms of inaccurate reporting on the central bank.
But these particular articles were significant in that, if what they're saying in the articles is true, so it creates serious doubt in the minds of people dealing with banks and central banks and so on.
So I do recall the articles coming out, but I can't recall the precise details. So if you wish for us to look at them, then please do. I mean, certainly from a loan loss recognition and the amount of provisioning that's applied to a loan when it starts to get into distress, there is a huge amount. There are lots of rules, but there is a huge amount of judgment that can be applied to implementing those rules. And they are for the accounting bodies and the auditors primarily. We obviously look at the kind of overall safety and soundness.
Well, I want to know the comment on the view of the central bank on these issues.
Sure.
So I'll put them specifically to you.
Okay.
I raised the issue of EBS tied agents.
Yes.
And we were told that the evidence has been it's to do with the tied agents versus the bank, and the courts are involved and so on. But within the complaint of the EBS tied agents, there is the fact that the EBS knowingly misrepresented its financial position to the markets or the creditors or the central bank, and surely that knowing this is part of their complaint. That it is therefore your job to investigate that part of it. So I'm not asking you about an individual EBS agent. I'm not asking you specific instances of the challenge that's going on. I'm asking, have you looked at the complaints made by the EBS agents beyond acting out of any one individual case?
Sure. And
have you looked at it in terms of the flawed accounts which were used in the very same loophole that we talked about earlier on?
Is
there any body of work on that?
So we briefly discussed the EBS tied agents here before, and I have every sympathy for them. I have met them.
Yeah, we know, but just is there a body of work on that?
So we have looked at everything that we've received from the EBS tied agents. We continue to monitor. I know there's ongoing.
But have you actually engaged with the bank in relation to the allegations being made about their procedures and processes.
So we have engaged with AIB EBS in relation to the complaints the tied agents have made. As I've said before, it's kind of primarily looks to us to be a civil dispute, and I know it's working its way through.
No, it isn't.
It's
beyond that, you see. That's the point I'm making. Yes, it's a civil dispute and the agents are contesting their contractual arrangements. But there's also the issue of the bank's activity within the EBS argument.
So we have met with the EBS tied agents, or some of them in relation to that, discussed that issue with them. I recall that we wrote to you on it previously, but
you did, but I'm not letting it go. I'm going to pursue this because I believe that outside of the contractual issues between the two parties, that there is an investigation that should take place into the EBS as to their accounting practices, the information they gave about the bank, and so on and so on. Okay. So I'm putting it on record here, and I'm going to come back about it.
Okay, thank you.
On the tracker mortgage issue, a number of banks have told customers that the tracker examination scheme does not apply to non-home mortgages. Buy-to-let investors are therefore exposed to a deliberate banking malpractice, as are farmers and others. Both were charged higher interest rates than what expected. And is that a fact, and can these cases be examined? In other words, the other way of putting it is the central bank agree that it is not empowered to exclude, that banks cannot exclude commercial mortgages from tracker redress. So if there's a commercial mortgage on a tracker basis, is that excluded from the redress?
So you mean like a buy-to-let mortgage?
Yeah.
Maybe
or any other commercial.
Buy-to-lets were included as part of the tracker mortgage.
Sorry?
Buy-to-lets were included as part of the tracker mortgage examination.
Yeah, but beyond that, if there are other connected loans like that, are they included in the tracker mortgage? If they have a tracker connection of some sort, are they included or excluded?
Can we take that one away if that's okay with you? Because it's just interesting to hear the specifics of what you're talking about.
And
just I don't want to misguide you.
In the minute I have left,
go ahead.
You were talking about consumer protection. Start mortgages, and I correct you every time on this. Start mortgages, it is impossible to deal with them. Customers are finding it impossible. I, as a third party, am finding it impossible. You can't get through to them on the phone. There are issues. They don't address the issues. There's concerns. They don't address the concerns. In KBC, which was abhorrent is the word that was used, they lost a court case, or a court case was won, if you like, by the other side. And they were to pay. And they still haven't paid. They just refused to pay. In terms of Bank of Ireland, Deputy Doherty is aware of this particular case. It is specifically mentioned in correspondence that the individual had a tracker. And they've refused to acknowledge it. They've conducted internal investigations. It is bizarre the way the banks are handling issues and actually getting away with them. Now, Deputy Doherty again raised the issue of evictions and repossessions. How many repossessions have we had over the last while? And how many have we had during the pandemic? They continue to bring people to court, even at Christmas time, to drag them all over the place about the mortgage. And there's no intervention, apparently, from anyone. And the letter was put on record by Deputy Doherty, and he's correct. What legal practice or bank, in its right mind, would tell people to be out on the 21st of December? Somebody should intervene. I mean, consumer protection should intervene, surely.
So,
because I want to say again, the protections do not travel with the loan or with the customer. It just doesn't happen. In the cases that I've come across, Deputy Durkin, Deputy Doherty are at pains to point out at every single finance meeting that it doesn't happen. In quite a number of cases, and usually it's those that are not well heeled with lawyers, but those that are maybe lay litigants with a damn good argument, but the bank just kicks them around the place with showing no respect whatsoever for them. No respect. And we have to find somewhere where we can turn to. Now, sorry, I know I've said all of that, but I'm obliged to conclude the meeting because we've reached 3:30. But I will write to you as chairman of the committee, because it was raised here, put the various questions to you and get the type of answers, you know, that details that you've given us here.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for your time. As much detail as you can give us in terms of specific examples you cite, the better we are able to look at them.
Well, I'm going to put it to the clerk, so the clerk
as much detail as you can, that would be great.
The clerk will be putting it to you.
Thank you.